I've spent 20 odd years in the finance sector, but 4 years ago I started to go about retraining. So I'm now running my own business as a nutritional therapist. So I suppose I've got the finance and the business owner angle to bring to the discussion.
So let's find out then a little bit more about what is happening this weekend and why the Freethinkers, first of all, Vicky, felt it was so important to mark this International Day.
Well, I think that even though there have been lots of strides for women on the Isle of Man and else further afield, I think there are still lots and lots of issues around it. And we tend to find that it brings out people who say, well, women have got equal opportunities now, but there are still lots of things happening. And so we decided that that would be a really good way of bringing it into discussion on this day.
So what exactly is happening then on Sunday?
We have got a group of 6 women who are each going to introduce themselves and say whether they think their gender has affected their career path to date. So we've got a wide variety of people. Do you want me to?
Yeah, tell us who's on.
What, do you want me to name them? Yes, I can name them, can't I? Yes, we've got Daphne Kane coming to talk about her politics. We've got Hazel Hannon, who is now involved in local politics, but of course was national politician for many years. We've got a school teacher, Ali Campbell, coming to talk about teaching. We've got your own weather girl, Kirsty Pendlebury, coming to talk about being a Met officer. We've got a GP, and we've got Joanne here talking about business and finance. So.
And Vicky, if somebody was to ask you that question, what would you say?
No, because I think in the education world things have moved on, and if you look around in the heads, for instance, of a lot of the schools are women now. I think 3 island secondary school heads are women now. So I think, the opportunities are there for the Isle of Man now, career-wise.
And Joanne, we don't want to give away what you're going to say on Sunday, but how have you approached this question?
I've got, fortunately or unfortunately, I've got lots and lots of stories. I suppose the most, the one that probably requires the least censoring, is that when in the early noughties, I spent a number of years working for a large private bank in London. In a client-facing relationship manager role, and that particular bank was very vocal about the fact that clients didn't get to pick and choose who their manager was. We were all highly qualified, very well trained, and if we covered a particular sector, then we covered all of the clients in that sector. When I moved back to the Isle of Man, I took up a very similar role for a local company. And unfortunately, it was a given that there were certain clients that I just wouldn't meet because they liked to deal with a man.
Was that actually said to you?
Oh, yes. It was very open. Just that, but it was just, he's a bit of an old dinosaur. So no, he likes to deal with a man. So there was no attempt to whitewash it, or it was just, that was the way it was.
And if we're talking, though, in the concept of free thinking, isn't it okay sometimes for somebody to say that they've got a preference?
Well, I think if you're looking for somebody that has a particular expertise, then yes. But if effectively all you're doing is bringing your prejudice or bigotry to the table, most people would hopefully be horrified if a client said, well, I only want to deal with a white person. And this is absolutely no different. These are non-modifiable factors. I'm a woman, it's all I can be. I'm white, it's all I can be. So things like ethnicity, your age, your background, these are things that we can't change. And if we have the expertise, then we should just be accepted on a level playing field.
And did you see this as a generational issue, or did you see it as an issue for the island, because this was after you came back to the Isle of Man?
Well, I wonder now, and honestly, I still don't know, but I don't know if there is any kind of equality legislation over here. It was certainly something that particular company didn't feel that it had to take a principled stand on, whereas the London company did. Was it a generational thing? Maybe in that kind of example, because that was so overt, but there were still lots and lots of occasions where the generation didn't matter, that treatment was absolutely different because I wasn't a man.
And have you noticed a difference in the past few years since the likes of the Me Too campaign? In the workplace as such?
Have I noticed? I think I haven't experienced anything probably as overt as that. As I say, and with that, we're probably talking 10 or 15 years ago. There's still banter in the workplace, and that in most circumstances you can just laugh off or give as good as you get. But then I suppose it depends how robust you are, or what kind of mood you're in, or whether you just feel like whether you want to deal with it that particular day. And there are still circumstances where it's the old cliche, but you're sat in a meeting and you say something and seemingly people are deaf to it, and 5 minutes later a male colleague says it and it's, oh, that's an interesting idea. And it's as I say, it's cliche, but I think it happens to all of us.
And how much did your experience then drive you to starting your own business and moving out of that corporate world?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know that my feminism or treatment as a woman was a factor in that. That was kind of that was a whole lifestyle change for me. But for lots of reasons, I think I'm glad not to be in that environment anymore.
And Vicky, we were talking about the Freethinkers at the start of the show, and you were saying that one of the things that is sort of part of the element of being in the organisation is not really seeing yourself as an ist necessarily, yes, in any way, shape or form, which intrigues me, because I wonder if you would call yourself a feminist.
Well, I have never really called myself a feminist. I'm sort of try to live my life by speaking out about injustices, and feminism is one of those injustices. But I'm part of Amnesty International. I speak out about injustices not just for women but for men all over the world who are suffering dreadfully for their beliefs. I'm a member of Friends of the Earth because I speak out about climate change. So I don't see myself as specifically feminist. That's just one of the many issues that I'm interested in, really.
It was lovely. We were talking off air about this before, and I'd love for you to share the reason as to why you think you've become more involved in these sort of organisations in recent years.
Well, because I think that I've got grandchildren now, and the youngest grandchild is now 11, so that tells you how far into the grandparenting thing I am. But having grandchildren gives you a future beyond your future. So you're not just looking to things that are going to happen in your lifetime or even your children's lifetime, but I'm now looking 50, 60 years ahead to when my grandchildren are adults. What sort of a world are they going to inherit from me? If I don't speak out about the things that I see that I don't like, who else is going to? And who's going to make life the way I want it to be for them?
And with your children and grandchildren, do you see them following your path and sort of being the people that speak out about things?
I hope so. I have a lovely granddaughter who's nearly 16 in a few weeks' time, and she is already following in Grandma's footsteps by being very, very interested in some of the same issues that I'm interested in.
Well, we are talking about this event on Sunday, much more to say about that, but let's give people the details if they want to go along. When and where is it happening?
It's at the Douglas Bay Yacht Club between 6 and 7:30 on Sunday evening.
Wonderful. OK, all the details again will be on the Women's Day blog, which you can find at maxradio.com after the show if you miss any of them while we're talking during this hour.
Can I just say that as well as this speakers, we are supporting the Red Box Project as part of the evening as well, which you've had on your programme before.
Would you like to remind people what that is?
It's the Red Box Project is to put a red box in every school, primary and secondary in the island, so that girls who have periods in school can access period products, sanitary towels and tampons. If they start their period during the course of the school day, there may even be pants and wipes and things in the box. And it's a really good organisation that I'm sort of on the fringes of, but I believe passionately about. So we're asking people who come on Sunday night to bring either financial donations or actual products, and we'll have a red collection box there as well to put things in.